Al, you can stay. You know, there are certain moments, and sometimes it's sort of awkward or circumstantial, but I think there are certain moments where any free agent contract, no matter the size, on one night, the fan base goes, never mind, it's fine.
Hi, this is Buddy Hield.
How about Barry Zito?
Good call.
Yeah, Barry Zito, St. Louis. Never mind. We forget everything we said. I know that was 5 years and 4.5 of it was just a wreck.
7 years, I think.
Was it 7?
7 year, 126.
Whatever. Like
my old radio partner made a whole long run out of that. 126 million.
Yeah. But that was like, not that anybody was coming down Al's throat or anything like that. But last night, it was like, never mind. It doesn't matter if he's 40. It doesn't matter if he can only play half the games. The contract was worth it just for the fourth quarter last night. That's it. That's all we needed. You know what I mean? And if you can do that in big moments, yeah, come back next year. Sure.
Why not?
Sure.
We'll just dust you off in April in the fourth quarter of whatever game matters. Steve Kerr with some great post-game comments. And like you, after that game, I was so jacked up. There was no sleeping. So I was like scrolling socials, post-game, watching the Amazon Prime, and then switching over to NBC Sports Bay Area and just trying to get all the content. And Steve even said, he's like, yeah, Al was having a tough night. And that's what you do when you're a champion. You get called upon again, and you go in there and you're able to just block out everything that's already happened. And Al was a minus 21 through 3 quarters. He was patently bad, and that's when my tweet lived, and I stand behind my tweet. And then in the fourth quarter, he goes 4 for 4 from 3, 12 points. He's a plus 14 in 6 minutes. Are you kidding me? And he won't be remembered as the, quote, hero, but there were many heroes in that one.
There were many.
Fourth quarter heroes,
Yeah. 43 points they scored in the fourth quarter.
Incredible. 15 of 20 from the floor. And I'm trying to remember the 5 shots they missed. And
God.
Steph missed 2.
Steph missed a long 3 right before the great one the one that you remember where he ended up in the seats.
Yep.
Right before that, he hit the front rim and it was a bong. Like
right.
it was kind of an ugly brick, actually.
And he had a layup where he got patently mauled, no call, and he wound up arms akimbo on the baseline.
Man, there were a lot of palms up last night from everybody.
Kristaps missed, I think he missed a 3 in that fourth quarter.
He did. Yep, I remember that now.
And Pods, he missed a 3 as well. He was 0 for 1 from 3. That might be the one that drew no iron. And I was starting to get a little bit agitated on Twitter. Somebody said, oh, that's a clank. And I said, it's not a clank if it doesn't hit the rim, guy.
Oh.
My dude.
What a great comeback.
More of a thud. No, let's be accurate. It was a thud.
It was a whiff.
Not a clank.
It was a whiff.
5 missed shots in 12 minutes.
Oh.
43 points. And they only turned it over 3 times. 3 of the 20.
Dude. That's the other thing. They played like crap for 3 quarters, I thought. I thought it was amazing they're still in the game because they played very poor basketball. And there were some good things tucked in there. Sure, some big shot making, but they were sloppy. Yep. They were very, very sloppy. Decision making was not great. But we'll get to all that. Here's the money shot from Steve Kerr last night after the game.
It was just a display of, just a beautiful display of competitive will, and this is why Steph came back. So everybody out there who thought Steph should have taken the rest of the year off, this is what he does. This is who he is. If he can compete, he's going to compete, and it was just incredible to watch.
I have decided that a Steve Kerr table tap is one of the great moments in all Bay Area sports history. Whenever he does it, something is said that will end up getting played on this station for a decade.
And it's 5 taps, too. I don't know if that's his. He cannot be that guy.
Was it 5?
That was 5 thumps, I believe.
I caught 4. Let's hear it again.
It was just a display of, just a beautiful display of competitive will, and this is why Steph came back. So everybody out there who thought Steph should have taken the rest of the year off, this is what he does. This is who he is. If he can compete, he's going to compete. And it was just incredible to watch.
A little bit of Kendrick Lamar in that.
Dan,
Wop, 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 wop.
Dan Dibley 1, Mark Willard nothing. That was 5.
5 taps.
Yeah.
And it just immediately had me thinking, oh, okay, so you're not on social media? Sounds like you're a part of the echo chamber there, coach.
Well, I would imagine in his position with all the questions that get asked and guys like you and me sitting here, puppeting all of it to him all the time, he's got a good idea of what the hell's being said.
Or he might have himself a burner.
Or he and Kevin Durant are more alike than they think, maybe.
Maybe he also has a burner.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just 5 table thumps is his burner account. I'll look to see if there's somebody on Twitter that has that handle.
Those were very weighty table thumps.
That's like a 2 or 3 finger because it wasn't a fist like the he cannot be that guy.
But the pause.
He cannot be that guy.
Yeah, see, that was an anger.
Right.
There was a frustration in the Pods taps. Last night's taps were a sniff. They were a guru sniff because there was a pause and then there was a tap and it was a big, fat, stinking, I told you so.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what that was. I bet that felt better than you know what.
I mean, better than a lot of things. Better than most, as the old expression goes.
I love that. Tiger putt.
Did anyone ever do the typewriter to you where they hold you down by your arms, they pin your legs, and they just thump on your chest? Da, 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 da.
I don't believe
You don't have older siblings, though.
I do. I have one sister.
There you go.
Yeah.
It doesn't count.
She's
a nice lady, I'm told.
She knocked teeth out of my mouth one time.
The typewriter is when you would take like 2 or 3 fingers and just like da, 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 and like thump on somebody's chest.
No.
While I'm pinned to the ground.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
That's kind of what that reminded me of because that was a 2 or 3 finger just hard thump on the table. But you're right. That was a message of, this is why, like what he said before, what are we doing?
The answer to all Warriors questions.
And Killian.
Last night.
I like it.
And by the way, with all absolute open arms and love, invitation to the 1/3 of you who on Twitter last night voted that you wanted them to lose. We had callers. Filmo Mike, where are you today? You have to call, Filmo. You have to. You wanted them to lose. And here's my guess. I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody who said that they were rooting for the Warriors to lose last night to get into the lottery. But my guess is you told us at 4:30 that you wanted them to lose. No, you didn't. Not once that game started. Not once the fourth quarter started. Not once you started seeing those performances. Once you started seeing Al Horford threes go net. There's no way. If you've got a pulse and any love for this team at all, there's no way in hell you were rooting for those things to miss. I'd love to hear the story. I'd love to hear the story from anybody who last night was thinking it'd be better if they lost. Tell me what actually happened when the game started. What was going on in your heart then?
Well, I think when you're down 13, just under 10 to go, you're thinking, well, this isn't the worst thing if you're one of those people. And I was watching that game thinking, all right, enough of this. Like, all right, Clippers, go up by 22 so I can turn it off.
Right.
Every time they'd go up by double digits, quietly the Warriors would cut it to 4 or 3 and then back to 9. And so you never felt like they were going to get that grasp. And then you talked about Al Horford. I'm looking at it now. His first 3, under 6 to go. They're down 7. And still at that point, it's like, all right, not that this is a long shot, but they still hadn't yet gotten over the hump. And then Al hit not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4.
Unreal.
And so, at that point, you're thinking, all right, this was great, but just make sure you lose on Friday.
So if the Warriors fell 4 picks because of last night, fine by me.
What if it's 14 picks?
Well, we'll never know that.
Right.
That's not possible to know.
It's not possible to find out unless you go out and lose on Friday.
It's very, very unlikely.
And the other scary part of it is what you did last night, Warriors.
I know.
What you did.
It's okay.
You just gave more power to Oklahoma City.
What are you going to do?
It's like when Luke Skywalker chopped off Darth Vader. I think he chopped off his arm or no. When he got really mad at Darth and hacking away at somebody, and he gave into the dark side. He only gave more power to the dark side. Mm-hmm. That's what last night was.
Well, it's kind of that whole movie. That's what the whole movie 7 is about. Become wrath. Yep. Now you're going to jail.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so
and they're going to Phoenix.
Whatever. So if it's the summertime, some believe it's the same thing. Anyway, okay, let's take some calls. Let's go to Julie in Marin. Hi, Julie. Thank you for calling. What's up?
Hey, guys. Dub Nation is loving this day, but I think mic drop, that game was by and for Steve, Draymond, and Steph. And it's their game. It's their legacy. It's what they do. And I wish them all the best.
Julie, love it. Yeah, that's kind of what we were saying in the crossover. I felt like it was three dudes, and I don't feel like this isn't like a narcissistic thing, I don't think, but it was three dudes. This is very relatable to me. It's three dudes that looked themselves in the mirror and went, still got it. Still got it. You know, the Warriors went to a bar last night at age 42, and some young girl came over and hit on them. And you go home and you with a little bounce in your step. You're like, you know what? I still got it. I still got it. There's no way that they weren't questioning themselves at times. There's no way that Steph Curry wasn't sitting there with runner's knee wondering if he was going to get to play again this year. There's no way that Draymond Green doesn't know everything that everybody's been saying and how disappointing he's been and how they should have let him go 2-3 years ago. And he's just dragging this entire organization down. And don't get me started on Steve Kerr, who seemingly, and I know it's an echo chamber, but my God, on Twitter, 82% of you want him fired because he doesn't know what he's doing.
And he doesn't develop young players. I mean, Guy has done what he's done on his own.
On his own.
I'm tired of you giving Steve Kerr all the credit. And Pods, too. They each went for 20. No, Pods had 17. Guy had 20. Both relatively young in the association, and yet, you know, high leverage moments. And
big number in the turnover category. I don't think either one of them were anywhere near perfect last night.
No.
But they had some really good moments, no doubt.
Guy was a plus 16. He had 6 rebounds and 5 assists. To go with the 5 turnovers, not great.
Brandon was a plus 10. They were the two leaders in that category.
Right, 7 rebounds, and he had 4 turnovers. So 9 of the 20 came from those two. And some of those were absolutely like shaky. Oh, the moment's too big.
Absurd. Like I think both Guy Santos and Brandon Podziemski can be summed up quickly with this. Absolutely sloppy and at times poor decision-making. But also, both of them were not scared of the moment, and both of them made big shots. And obviously, I think they were two of Brandon was the leader. Guy was, I think, 4th in minutes played. So they were out there a lot. They were, this is a weird way to say it, but reliable at times, which is kind of not reliable, but you know what I mean?
The antithesis of reliable.
Yeah, but I mean, they were not overwhelmed by the moment. Yes, they made too many mistakes, as young players are wont to do, but I thought both of them were more positive than negative.
Yeah, and you played only 8 guys, and you were able to, find a way to dig deep late in the game. And you mentioned Steph and Steve and Draymond, and I was struck just by the Al Horford part of it, and even Kristaps Porzingis, who played almost 28 minutes, and he was good when Al wasn't, and then Al was great when Kristaps was less involved in what was going on. But both of those guys, relative to their age and their experience, they're kind of playing for their NBA careers. If Al's going to play after this year, it might be one more year, it might be here, but his future is not a long-term, bright proposition. So to have that moment, 4 threes in the fourth quarter to help spur the comeback, and for Kristaps, 7-3, follow dunks, hanging on the rim,
dude, it was his
stepping into threes.
Best game as a Warrior,
I mean, he looked like the unicorn that we've all dreamed about. And again, it wasn't a full 4 quarters of it, but in the first half, what he did really kept them in it.
You know what he looked like? Somebody you want on your team.
Totally.
That's what he looked like to me. Somebody you absolutely, unequivocally want on your team. And for me, for him, that's what last night was all about. Last night was about a lot of things, but different things for different players. Last night, for Kristaps Porzingis, that was, to me, nail in the coffin on, do you want him or not? The answer is yes. The answer is yeah. I think he wants to be here. There's an exchange between him and Anthony Slater last night that I thought was told a huge story to where Anthony was kind of asking him about, do you feel like this is a preview of things that could come? And before the question was even over, Kristaps is just sitting there nodding at him And then when he's done, he goes, that's a really good way to look at it. Like, Kristaps is clearly activated by the idea of playing here, and I think the franchise feels the same way.
And I think part of it is Dr. Rick Celebrini, who has gotten him, healthy enough to be able to be in these spots, and playing with Draymond, who's maybe the highest IQ player I've ever seen, and Steph Curry, who's a unicorn, a foot shorter, but a unicorn of his own right. And if you're Kristaps, you can just go out there and be the kind of player that you can be really good at, which is offensive rebound, shoot the three, defend the rim. He fits perfectly.
Gary in the city is next. Hi, Gary. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thanks, Gary.
I want to comment on what Steve Kerr said last night in the post-game interview. He was talking about how excited and exhilarated he was, and he says, everyone else may find that silly, but they just don't understand. And I just thought his comments captured last night's game. And I'm really proud of the Warriors. I'm happy for them.
Gary, thanks. I think this is probably the comment that you're talking about. This is Steve Kerr after the game talking about what this
For one night, we're us. We're champions again, and I know that may sound crazy to everybody out there. It's a play-in game. I don't care. It's just absolutely beautiful to watch.
For one night, we're us again.
We're champions.
Yeah. Which I know. There's a very large segment of the audience that's going to be like, are you kidding me? You want to play in a game that doesn't even put you in the playoffs in the NBA. But his response to that is, I don't care. I don't care if you feel that way. Like, I
think about baseball, where you win, like in the old days when it was a one-game wild card. Yeah. You win the wild card game, and you rush the field, and you celebrate on the mound, and you put plastic over your lockers, and there's champagne and goggles and beer because you advanced. And I do think that there's value in that. And even my beloved college basketball, when you win the West Regional to go to the Final Four, you celebrate, you cut down the nets.
I know. Devil's advocate for a minute. The examples you just gave are both examples of teams that are already in the quote-unquote postseason. The Warriors aren't even technically in the postseason yet. They haven't even qualified for the playoffs.
Right.
But I know they had to do last night in order to have a shot to quit. Now they've got an actual shot to qualify for the playoffs. I thought, like, rather than even thinking about it in his word of champions, I loved the first sentence. For one night, we were us. I thought that's what last night was about. Last night is about the Golden State Warriors, who've worked for 2 months to get their roster back to a point where it was an actual NBA roster. That's why I've had such a hard time with all of the opinions about what the Warriors have looked like for the last 2 months with LJ Cryer and Malachi Leones running around out there. Nothing against those guys, but what are we talking about here? Who are you assessing? What is it exactly you think that is? That's not the Warriors. That's guys trying to make the Warriors or just the league, and they're fill-ins, and they played hard, and that's great. Like, that's appreciated. But that wasn't a group that was going to do anything in the NBA. But we all knew if they were blessed with health for a minute, there is still an NBA roster in there. And last night it showed up and it won on the road. And I think that's what Steve was saying.
I also think that the reaction was what it was because they were down 13 with under 10 to go.
Sure.
If you went out there and you boat raced or motorboated, as Low Neal would always say, if you boated the Clippers and you won 122-94, I don't think that the reaction would have been as exuberant or as passionate. I think that the passion came from the way it went. You were down 13, and Al Horford came in and knocked down 4. Steph hit another one of his unbelievable, I don't believe it, threes. Draymond locked down a surefire top 40 all-time player. I mean, locked him down. The way that all went, Draymond showing DPOY stuff, Steph playing the hero, Horford, look at me, I'm still really good. I think those things is what led to the reaction as much as just the win.
Yeah, you're probably right. Sean in Oakland is next. Hi, Sean. Thanks for calling. What's up?
How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, man. What I don't understand is like why everybody acts like this is something new from Steph. If he in the game, we always have a chance. And this time, everybody put all hands on deck from Draymond to finally Christmas without this so-called illness that he had back a few games, and and Pods and everybody else, man, everybody just put all hands on deck and let everybody know that it's like everybody's against us. Let's show them what we got and what we still got. Like you said, looking in the mirror and say, I still got it. Took that wedding ring off, went to the club, and be like, women still like me here. You know what I'm saying? And I still got it, and then went back and be like, look, told the Warrior fans we still got it. So I'm still positive about them especially against Phoenix. I can't wait to play against them to play against Dylan and them. It should be a hell of a game Friday, so I'm excited.
Sean, thanks. Yeah, I don't
Dylan Brooks.
I think the Warriors are better than the Phoenix Suns. We'll get into this tomorrow. I do wonder how much the Warriors physically have left for that game. That's going to be my question. But the Suns have not been healthy for a little while either. Devin Booker has not looked like himself for weeks, so we'll see. Like I said, we got tomorrow to talk about tomorrow.
Yep.
I don't think anybody is acting like this is new from Steph. I think people were wondering if they were ever going to get to see it again. That's why there's such exhilaration around it.
Right, and also there is going to be a time where he's not going to be able to summon it. Maybe it's not until he retires, but there's going to be an end date to this, and there's an end date to everything, and he gets to be 38. He's got runner's knee. He misses 2 months, and you're thinking, okay, you're down 13 against the Clippers. Maybe this is going to be the end of this year, and we're going to have to regroup because what we're being told is that next year is the year. And then he goes out and he does what he did, and they come from behind. And so, yeah, it's not new, but I don't know. It still caught me a little bit off guard that they were able to come back from 13 down.